Today is the 11th day, the day after a 3-day lockdown. That's the Kai Mills don't make no kind of sense at all. 3 days, you're wasting the people's time. And I don't always talk. I've been doing a lot of isolation because I'm one of those that take this virus, COVID-19, absolutely serious, and it's deadly. And when you see on the US, they are the leaders in this, they have more technical brains in one room than we have all in the Bahamas government, in one room. And they would say, and they're predicting by the end of August, 137,000 US citizens will be dead by August. You know what it's that? 137,000 people die, and the Bahamas still don't get it. I said 2 weeks ago, somebody was listening to my video. I had administrator from Bimini begging, asking, got the police, everybody, but nobody's listening. And the number she called is what I called 2 weeks ago. If it takes 14 days for you to know whether you got this virus or not, why are we locking down for 3 days? It should be a 14-day complete shutdown. Complete. Nobody. One person can affect everybody. Just like the plane coming in, I heard that one person was on the plane that had COVID-19. So if one person on the plane got it, everybody on the plane possibly is a carrier. One. And interesting, I heard all these updates that the Prime Minister, those are doing in their first lockdown. In the first lockdown, the government of Bahamas got it right. They found out that a certain area in Nassau had more COVID-19 than anywhere, only in this pocket. What should you have done if you had a government and a prime minister that had a little bit of brains? You get the defense force and your police force and you lock that down. For 14 days or more, you lock those people out. If you already got the information that a certain area from Nassau is exploding, common sense ain't common no more. You get a perimeter, land, sea, and air, and you lock that place down for 14 days, at least 14 days. They come and brag and, oh, they know the numbers. La, 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 la. We got the numbers. We got the area. We know where it is. But what you did about it, and what are you doing about it? You could have capped that right there in this particular part of Nassau. Nassau ain't that big. Lock that community down. Lock it down. Not for 3 days. The 3 days ain't making no sense. All you're doing is playing with yourself. No sense. And a small area like Bimini. Why haven't Bimini been locked down for 14 days? Why does the administrator have to come on the television today and beg the government to please, let's lock Bimini down for 14 days. This thing ain't start yet. You know when it start? You know when the government gonna have some brains? When you see them by the hospital putting up another freezer trailer to put the bodies in because the morgue's already up to capacity, then it's game on. But that time, the numbers is out of whack. It's gonna escalate like crazy. You're coming on the summer. The summer is when it breeds. But nobody's paying attention to that. And then yesterday, the interesting part about it is that the Vice President of the United States, if they cannot lock it down out of the White House, what you think about the House Assembly? Kai wanted to head the House Assembly. Right on that the left side there with them FNMs. Let it head there. Let the virus catch them over there. Then they're gonna pay attention. You imagine that the administrator from Bimini got it big. But back to the United States, Vice President Pence. Pence, lady on the side of him, she tested negative today. The next day she was positive. This virus is hiding. How can somebody like that in the White House that tested negative one day, the next day she's positive, and she's being all over the White House? You see, they ain't too smart, are they? You know? The president, the vice president, I ain't see them wear no mask yet. But now, the vice president is in self-quarantine because he knows what's coming. They believe because they're the vice president, the president, they are immune from this disease. I see it here in the Bahamas also. Dr. Menes, he believes immune. But if we're in a war, we're not in a war. This is a World War III. I said that long time. Shouldn't you have all your best soldiers on the front line? I think the only other doctor in the House Assembly was Dr. Sands. Pardon Dr. Sands and put him back to work. We don't need a part-time minister like the Prime Minister who don't know what's going on. You need Dr. Sands, suck it up for country's sake. Forget about ego and greed and notoriety. Forget y'all. We already know y'all is only a one-time government. But try to go out looking good. Try. You need to get Dr. Sands back on your team. You need to lock this town down and this country down for more than 3 days. 3 days is like sprinkling a little bit of water. Putting a Band-Aid on a shark bite. It's going to get infected. We are going to get infected. Lockdown means everybody. Everybody locked down. And one thing I see they're doing all over America, the beach. You don't lock the beach down. Salt cures and kill. Which virus? COVID-19. If you go in that salt water and some of that get in your throat, anybody ever been dive in the salt water? Your whole head, everything drains down because of the salt. Salt cures. That's the place they should want people to go. And please go in the water. Dive, dive, dive. Be putting your head down. That salt water will cure everything in your nostrils, everything in your throat. You try drinking salt water. You try getting it in your nose. If human beings can't stand salt water, what do you think about COVID-19? That is the place you need to head. Overboard. Stay down as long as you can. Drink salt water. Spit it out. Gargle with the salt water. That will kill the virus right away. Don't keep people off the beach. But as I say, 3-day lockdown doesn't make no sense. Somebody please talk to Dr. Menes. Find out the areas like he did. Maybe it's too late now, but you got to continue to strive to lock this thing down. It ain't over till it's over. Abaco is bragging about nothing. They're bragging, COVID-19 in Abaco. You want to be the next one in the trailer? You really believe that now? Flights are coming back and forth. Boats are coming back and forth. People are coming back and forth in Abaco, and we don't know who is what. But when the cry, don't you be the first one in Abaco to die from COVID-19. Because the government is so naive in their approach. They already forgot Abaco. But shouldn't any island in the Bahamas that has proven that they do not have any COVID-19, shouldn't the government put all the horses and all the men on the front line to lock it down and to keep it locked down? Why is plane picking up people, dropping off back and forth by boats? It needs a total lockdown for 14 days. I know it's going to be hard to lock the Haitians down because they're up and down. They don't have no place to live, to sleep. all this rain that we have now, they're up and down like crabs. You ever see crab when the rain fall? You're up and down trying to find somewhere dry, somewhere comfortable. That's what's going on in Abaco. But Abaco needs to be thoroughly locked down for 14 days. You imagine big as Abaco is. We went through hurricane. We went and going through this bad F&M administration. And we don't have one COVID-19 test in Abaco. How do you know you don't have it unless you die? They haven't taken one test. They don't have one ventilator in the second largest island in the country. Not one, nay, not one. And they say they know what they're doing. It's one of these Kai Care video. You got to protect yourself in Abaco and your family because the government of today, this F&M government, have given up on Abaco and Abaconian. 3-day lockdown is you're playing with yourself. It's a joke, complete joke. Lockdown is lockdown. Somebody need to tell Dr. Minnis what does it mean to lock down. Totally. And I like Bimini. Why does the administrator have to beg for Bimini to be locked down for 14 days? Why? Until 100 people get it on that small island in such close proximity to each other? It ought to be locked down from the first case. Now it's escalating and the government still don't know how to lock down one of the smallest islands in the Bahamas by the name of Bimini. God help them. It's one of these Kai Care video, hoping that it hit the right person before the wrong time comes.